Hey there, creator! So today we're doing something very special and we're going to make a website together. So to do that, I'll be using WordPress and Divi from Elegant Themes, and we will build a website together so that you can build your own website. So let's get started. Okay, so first up, my name is Natalie Velbrief. I am the owner of Digitali and I build websites. I've built websites for clients for a long time. I am an online marketing strategist that helps creators create their dream business, and I do that by helping them with their online marketing and content creations. So when I started 9 years ago, over 9 years ago, I started with website building, and I'm still doing that in a smaller amount. But what I've noticed more and more is that people come to me saying, hey, I really want to build my own website, but I don't know how to start. I don't know what to do. And I decided to do something very special and show you how. Um, and I want to do that by using the theme that I always use for my clients, which is called Divi. And you can use Divi for so many things, and they've developed it over the years, and it's such an amazing program. It's um, you can do these days, you can just see what you want and you can just drag and drop and see what the website is going to be like. So I thought that was an amazing moment to show you how to do it yourself. If you want to play with it and create your own website, or if you feel like it would be better to create your own website for budget reasons or whatever your reasons, yeah, I wanted to show you. So I decided to not show you how to set up WordPress. So if you need help with that, there are a ton of videos about that. Um, and I might do one someday, but today I wanted to focus on Divi. And Divi is the theme I use, like I said. Um, I have an affiliate link for that in the description below. I'm saying affiliate because if you buy through the link, I get a percentage of what you spend. You don't pay anything extra, but I want to be clear about that. And I get a bit from the sale. So if you love my tutorial, I hope that you would, and you want to buy it, I hope you want to go and use my link for that. And I'm always upfront about that. I always tell people when it's an affiliate link, if it's an affiliate link, because I think that's important for you to know. But no, affiliate links don't mean that you pay any extra. It's just that instead of everything going to the program maker, some of it is going to the person who showed you that it existed. Anyway, so I have a really completely just set up WordPress website. There's nothing I've done to it, and I mean really nothing. And the first thing we would want to do, I've done that, is go to Elegant Themes. I have the link in the description below, or with my blog post. And if you click my link, you will get here, and you can download Divi, and you can see everything about Divi, and you can buy it. And then when you're ready to buy, after you've bought, you can download it. And so I've downloaded it already. And then what you do then is you go to Appearance, Themes, you click Add New, you click Upload Theme, and then we click to choose the file. So it somehow does this part in Dutch. I don't know why. But let's just find the file. It's called Divi. Let's open it and install it. Now you can just leave it as a zip. WordPress will do the unzipping of the file, so it actually won't work if it's not a .zip file. So I've just downloaded from the Elegant Themes website directly, and now I'm installing it on the WordPress site. So while it's doing that, I wanted to tell you that if you don't have ever downloaded WordPress yet, you can just go to wordpress.org. It's different than the .com version. That's really important to know. And there you can download WordPress. And so you can put it on your own hosting. And You can pick whatever hosting you like and just download WordPress from here and install it on that hosting. Just make sure that they allow for WordPress websites. That's always important. So once it's installed, we can activate it. And then we can start our work. So normally when you've activated Divi and you've got it, you want to go to Divi, Theme Options, and then click Updates. And you can click type in your username and your API key, which you can find in your account. And then anytime there's updates, you will get an update in your WordPress with this. I have no clue how you call this, but this icon, and then showing how much updates you have. It might show an update for Divi. So now that you have Divi and we have done nothing else, it can be good to go through the other options of theme options. So now we're here, let's just go through this. We can decide on the logo here, and you'll see if there's a logo we can pick. You can upload a logo by clicking upload, and I will, for the sake of it, just choose my own, and can just drag and drop it here, which is awesome. You can have a fixed navigation bar or not, and if you ever have a question what something is, just click here and it'll say a fixed navigation bar. By default, the navigation bar stays on top of the screen at all times. We suggest to disable this option if you need to use a logo taller than the default one. So what this means is by default you will see the menu wherever you are. However, you might not want that. You might be able to just want to scroll down and not see the menu bar anymore. So if you don't want that, you can just disable this. So then you have the option to have a Divi gallery, and you can enable or disable that. And then you have the general color pickers. And so if you want to change that, you can just click a color and either post in the hex code that you've gotten from maybe your designer, or maybe you've found great colors yourself and you can just type it in here, or you can just start choosing something. So go and look at something that looks like, oh, I want that color. You can just go and click around here and drag with the two bars, and this one is for transparency, so you can just play with that. I'm not going through all the buttons here, but there's a lot more you can choose in if you wanted to show it. Like here we have some social media icons. I don't want Google+, it doesn't even exist anymore. And I don't want Twitter. And let's keep my Facebook and my Instagram. Now, however, to make that work, I should also post links here to those, but never mind. You can choose on your date format, which in Europe we use this one more. So I'll type that one in. And you can do all kinds of things. Don't worry too much about it. If you ever like, what do I need? You can always go here and see if they have it. Good to know is that there's a back to the top button. So if you are making one long page, it might be good to like add this one, and so it's showing up, and I'll add this one so that you can see it. And then we can click Save Change, and it's done. So we are going to make a website, and we're just going to make a basic website. So we're going to say that it's going to have a home page. I'm just making the pages right now, so I'm typing it in and click publishing. I'm not doing anything more than that. And let's also make a page called Contact. And what you see me do is I click add new here and add new page here. Both work. It's two ways to make pages, and it's the same with post. You can do that from here, add new, and here as well. But we're making pages now, but I want to show that. So let's make another page and call that services. And we're making one last page, which is about me. So with all of the pages you've seen this, build your layout using Divi. And then you can say use Divi Builder or use Default Builder. If you would use the Default Builder, you would get Gutenberg, which has more options than it used to with the old versions of WordPress, but still it doesn't have that much options. While the use Divi Builder has so many options and it has so many potential. And I will show you that. So let's start with the homepage. We'll go to the all pages, to the homepage, and then click Edit with the Divi Builder. And we can get a welcome to the Divi Builder. If you want that, you can take the tour. I'm just going to say start building. Okay, so there's 3 options, which is really handy. You can, once you have a page and you want another page that's similar but not the same, you can clone that page and then change anything that you need. So if you're making like a sales page per service, for instance, this can be really handy. You design one and then you just clone it every time after that. And that makes your life so much easier and quicker. So that's really handy to have. And then there's the choose pre-made layout, and we're going to click on that and see what that does. So Divi has 140 layout packs. That's 1,036 total layouts, people. That's just insane. There's so many things that you can just get without having to be a designer, without having to know a lot about design. You can just pick one of the layout packs and well, not be done, but you're already so much further than you were. So I really want to stress this next part. Don't get hung up on the categories, because yes, they're categories and you can say, oh, I'm in fashion and beauty. And so you will look at these and you're like, yeah, they're okay, but I really love that one from food and drinks, but I don't like the colors of that one. Well, you can change the colors. So if there's like, maybe you really like this rounded edge underneath, so maybe this is for you, even though you're something in the fashion industry. I meant to say fashion, but I think it sounded more like fishing. So if you're more in the fashion industry, you don't really have to just look at fashion things. You can look at food and drink. You can look at anything. So just scroll through and see what you love. Don't focus too much on specific images or specific culture, specific colors. There's just so much options that you have. And then if you like the layout, there's even more. So let's say, okay, so I just, with the food and drinks, I don't know, I saw something, it's like, oh, let's do that. So I think this one is really fun. So let's just pretend that Digitali is a cake maker today. And let's see what we can do with that. So if you click that, you don't see this one in big, and this is your landing page. But then there's also here a few more layouts. So there's an about page, a blog, a contact page, a home page. Then there's the landing page that we saw before, and a services page. How awesome is that? So if you feel like this could be something for you, you can just use the layout and you're not done, but you're like you're leaps and bounds ahead of starting from scratch. So let's say for the home page, we're using one of these layouts. So let's say that we're just using the home page, or let's see for 1 second, do we want the landing page? And the landing page, what I love about these is that you can use it for something specific, or it can just be that you want just to have one page as your website. Then the landing page works awesome as well. So I'm going to use this one as my home page. So we'll click use this layout. And now I have to fill in my username and API key. So I will do that. So once you filled it in, or if you filled in your login details before, you will start importing the Divi layout and we can get started. So here it is. Look, I love the scallops on the top. That looks so much fun. Like the whole thing just, oh, it's a lot of fun and it's so playful, and yeah, it really, it's, oh, I'm really loving it. So apparently I should have been a cake builder if I not been an online marketeer, because this just ticks all the boxes for me. Anyway, so I will use this layout to show you how you can build your own layout, because we can see what it's made of. So when we go to this, oops, it's going a bit nuts. Normally it would, let's do it with this one. So when you go over a bar like this, it will show you a green box. The green box is your section. I can do this, this. So you have different sections. These are called sections, the blue things or the orange things. We'll get back to that. Then we have the green, which is a row. And then we have a gray, which is a module. I'm showing you like this because in the end, this is what it's built up as. You have a blue bar with a green bar in it, and then several modules. I'm saying blue bar, but there's also the option of a orange bar or a purple bar. Anyway, so you don't need to go into this when you want to build it. I just wanted to show you when it's built up. So there's the blue bar here, and it has two green rows. So here's a green row, and then here's a green row, and then here we are in a new bar, which is orange instead of blue. And in this green bar, there's different modules that are gray. So here's one, and here's one, and here's one. And then there's a few here, and there's one big one here from the image. So they actually decided, I think for this, to maybe make another menu, because here we have a logo, and so it doesn't make any sense to have one here. And we'll get back to that later. We want to work on the menu some more. Anyway, this module is a text module, which I think has been done in a fantastic way. Can you see that? It's just a text module. And then I'm thinking, yes, there's a background with the whole image, like the swirly thingies. That's making the complete image for it. But you could also, if you just want your logo here, you can just click, add an image, and we can pick, let's just say what's my logo. Let's just pick this image. And then that can be your logo, and you can just have it here. So you could do text, or you could do just your logo to start your page with. And then here they have a great image, and if we click it, it will even say image settings. And you can see here that it's actually a square. However, it's rounded here. So if we go into any module, whether that's image or text or button or, well, you've seen there's quite a few, and I'll get back to that some more. You have three options. You have the content, which is just a basic option. So for an image, that means that there's actually an image. If it's text, that will be the text. Then you can have a link there if you want to, or you can have an image to open in a lightbox if people try to click on it. You can have a background, a color, or even a mix of colors or images or videos behind it. And that's just the basics. But then we get to design, which is why Divi is so amazing. You can do just about anything. So you can align the image, Here we've aligned the image to go to the left. We could also do it to the right or into the middle. I have to say you don't see much difference, but I think that's because we're in a big screen. You can change the sizing of the image. You can change the sizing of the max width. You can decide where the module is going. You can work on the spacing, which is the I'll show you. So here you will see, do you see the light green line? It's because actually it used to be somewhere else. That's going quick. So the image normally would have been here, but with the by dragging it out, it's now over the edge of the blue, which is making it stand out more, and it's more dynamic than it would have been if we would have dragged, oops, back. Okay, so normally like this, it would have been a bit more restrictive, and now it's a bit more playful, if I can get it back. Oh, wow, yeah. And they've done the same thing here. It should have been somewhere else, but they've changed it so that it's just a bit more playful. So that's the first thing. Like you saw, I can drag and drop things the way I wanted to. So maybe I want the scallop to go and be visible, and I decide to see if I can get that done. I might want to change the blue to something else. So the blue is actually, I think that's been done here. So when you have the row, you have the settings, design settings, and you have content for, sorry, that's not making any sense, was it? So when you have the row with the two different columns, which is this is one column, and then this is another column, it will show up like that. And so what I think they have is, yes, so in the column on the right, in the column with the image, they've actually changed the background. So the background is now blue over this piece, and then this one is open. So if we go back and we go to the other column and we click on this wheel, we can see that this background has no background. So if we would decide this would be green, you can see that like looks awful. I know that's not the point, but you can see that it will now have a background color as well. I'm just showing you options right now, and then we'll get into building a website or a page a little later, but I just want to let you see that those layouts can be really interesting, because you can just decide to pick another image and have your own website with a nice setup layout really quickly. Now, what we're working with this, and you're like, now this is not my layout. So now we can just change layouts. We go to the plus, and we can find another pre-made layouts. So let's say we want something for the animals. Let's see what we have. Okay, so we have a layout for animal shelter. So maybe you're an animal shelter and you want something like that. So we can pick out a layout like that. And look at how different this is. Look at how different this feeling is and how it's laid out and set up. So if you're not happy with what you're doing, you can just replace existing content and say use this layout. And instead of what we have, you'll have something completely different. Oh, look at that puppy. Or I think it's a puppy, but oh, look at that eyes. Okay, so before I get distracted by the puppy eyes, look at how different this layout is. So you can just find a layout yourself and pick something that looks like what what you want and go from there. So you can just click on here, change the text. Look at how easy it is. You can change the text of a title. You don't need to do much to make it yours. You can change the color of the image. So let's say of the color of the button. So let's say that this button, I want to change that button. Sometimes you can't change anything and it's because you've been changing text. Just go somewhere else, click it, and then when you go back, suddenly it will show up. So, see, now it's showing up. And we can go to the buttons. So we'll have all the design here. So I want to. So if you're in design and you go here, you can see all the different blue things. And you can just say, okay, I want to change this. So I want to change the color on this button and I want it to be bright green. Oh, sorry, I want not the text to be bright green. Button 1 text color. Natalie, let's read. Button 1 background. Yes, that one. I want it to be bright green. People, let's adopt an animal. So that's how easy we've just changed the button color. If you want the image change, so I'm going to here, background, and you will see that there's actually a black background here, which is just, you know, do you see the black stripe on top? That's the black. And then here, if we click settings, we go down, the background is this image. You see that? So I'll show you one thing extra. So if we here in the background, the button underneath says use parallel effects. And I will show you what that is. So if I scroll down, do you see that the white starts going over his nose? That's parallel effect, like the image moves with me. And that can be awesome, but sometimes it makes no sense at all. So if you don't want that, just go to your background and click it off. And look, now the image is just the same, it won't change. And there it is back, being dynamic. Another awesome thing about Divi is that a line doesn't have to be straight. Look, this is not a straight line, it goes up. So how do you do that? You always go to something that's a section. So in this case, we're going to the purple section. And then we go into design. And then you have dividers. And the divider on top is nothing because it's the straight edge on top. And then bottom is this curve. So if we feel like the curve needs to be different, maybe we want something more straight, or maybe we want something more wavy, we can just pick and choose the divider that we want. And then there's also the option to flip it around. So we can flip it around, or we can invert it. And now with this one, you don't see that as much, but I'm going to do something that you're going to see a lot more of. So this is actually another version of the one that it had. It had this one, but that's just not stricter, and I'm going to for this little bit softer one, like it has a bit of color difference. But you think, but the curve was that way. It's because we had the divider flip on, and so it's going the other way. But we could also make it go a curve like that, or a curve like that. So you can just play with that until you're happy. I think maybe this is actually, I like that one better. So let's go for that, because we're making another version of this. Okay, so you can just change any text that you want. You can also, maybe you're like, ooh, I love this part, but I need more or less of it. So maybe you're like, but I kind of need 3 columns with text and a button. No worries. Just click here, and you can just click another layout. So if you just want one layout instead of two, or if you want 3 or 4, I wouldn't go as far as doing like 6 on a straight row. I would prefer that you could do 2 times 3, but you know, and then there's different layouts for different things. So maybe you want a small image and then a bigger thing for text, or you want a text in the middle and 2 buttons on the sides. You can choose your layout, and that's for the rows, but it's for the green section. And then in there, in each of those elements, you can play one or more modules. So let's say we want this. Okay, so now we have 2, we need a third one. I can just click here and add it, or I can say, okay, I want to copy this one. And I can just duplicate the module and just drag it. And I can just duplicate this and drag it. And then I can start typing and changing it so that I have 3 different texts, and I done that with so much ease. Now, let's say I have written this, and so I have 3 columns. I'm like, but I don't like the brown, I want it green. So I'm going to module settings. I'm going to design, going to button. I'm going to the green again. Oops, and I'm doing it again. Let's go to the right green. Okay, so first of all, I want to show you that there's also different options here. So we can decide, instead of it being aligned to the left, we want it centered. And maybe we want, well, we don't want a lighter color, but maybe we want a little bit more spacing. Or we want a box shadow. So a box shadow means that it's going to stand out a bit more from the page. This one is really like strong, really tough. This one is inverted, so it's in the inside of the button. This one is on top of that, in the inside of the button, on the top of that. Personally, I love these two. Like, they look really like your button is coming from the page to you, making it more likely for people to push the button. There's so much here to play with, but don't go overboard all at once. And then, okay, I've got this button, but now like these don't match. So I'm going to show you a trick that's going to be awesome. If you've changed something and you're like, ooh, but I want it everywhere, you can just get the gray bar, click with your right mouse button, and you can say copy module styles. And now if I go here and I click again with my right button, I can say paste module styles, and ta-da! It's a green button too, but hey, it still says donate. It doesn't go and suddenly say browse. It's still saying donate. And another option is to either reset module styles if you don't like what it's going to, or you can make something your styles default. So if I would make this styles default, it will affect all my buttons on this website. So please be aware of that. But maybe you don't want the brown buttons, you want them all to be green. And you're like, yes, yes, I really want this to be my style. So now if I make a new button, it's suddenly green with the gray shadow and the white text, and it's in the center of the module. This one didn't change. That's really important to know. But new ones will be like the one you've already made, so that you don't need to keep saying, okay, it needs to be green, or keep copying the module style. So if you have one button or one text, you're like, yes, this is the style, you can just make it your default, and it will work for all next things that you do, everything else that you do. Okay, so if you want to remove something, because of course we're going to remove this button, or let's remove this one. You can just go over it, hover over it, and you get the gray bar again, and you can click the delete module. Ta-da! I'm going to show you a bit about the modules. Not all of them, because there's so many. And if you want something specific, let me know in the comments below, and I will be glad to tell you which model to use, or make even a video specifically about that module. But I want to show you the ones that will be used most. Of course, there's ta-da, text. Of course, we use that all the time, and you can make text big and small and italic and bold and whatever you want, and I'll get into that after this one. Another one I use, of course, a lot is image. Something else I really love is the blurb. So what a blurb does is it's an image and a text, but you can link it somewhere. So it can be really handy for services, for instance, for blog posts if you do that by hand, but I would prefer not to. But it's like, and you can, instead of an image, you can just decide to use an icon. So I go to image and icon and I say use icon. And then there's all these icons I can decide to use. And you will have an icon with a text. Then if I go to design, I can actually say that it needs a circle and then the icon. Look at how different it looks. And then I can also decide that the icon needs to be on the left instead of on the top. Like this for instance, featured items within your service, like you're getting email support for 4 weeks, you're getting a Facebook group. You could do so much with this. Like it's one of my favorite modules. Okay, so we're talking favorite modules here, and so I wanted to show you another one that I really love, which is the testimonial, and it's here. And this is like, testimonials are so important for your website because they show that you can be trusted. And we've talked about trust before, and trust is something that other people need to tell you that you can trust something or someone. And this module can do anything you want when it comes to testimonials. So we can say that this is the author, and we can say that she's the CEO of Digitali, and it will show that. And then you can type your text here, and you can add an image of a person, which today is a cake because I don't have a person ready to go. And then you can start changing things if you want to. So we might want to make the image yellow because that looks awful. Let's go for that. And then we can design to make the quote an icon in different color. Let's make that like the same green. Or change the image. So maybe we want less round corners. So if we do this, I'm hoping you're going to see it soon. Yes, now you're going to see it. Look, now it's more a square with rounded corners. That's this. So instead of the really round image, it's now going to be more rounded. If I'm going to go to 0, it's going to be a square. And then you can just go a little bit softer, or softer, softer, softer. And then if I changed it and I just wanted to go back to what it was, you can always just click this. And ta-da, we have a circle again. And so that's the 90 it was. We can go down, we can do a border around it. So maybe we say, okay, so the side will have a border of 2 pixels in the black, in the green, and it will be solid border, or it can be dashed border, or dotted border, or groove. Okay, so you can play, so we can add shadow to this as well. So you can see you can do just about anything with this. We can drag to have more space. We can drag to have less text and more space between them. You can drag and drop all you want. You can add a lot of space beneath the testimonial. This is also where I want to caution you, because there is so much you can do with this, and there are so many possibilities. Like, seriously, people, there is so many possibilities. And you can go overboard, because, like, look at this. This looks awful. The yellow with the green with the black. It's not an attractive look for this. And not just because of the page with the black and the green and the gray. It's just not a good look in general. So when you're doing this, make sure that you're doing things that make sense. Don't go overboard. Don't try to do all the different options onto one module, because it will be too much, and it will look awful. It really will. So okay. So here you're seeing the um, blurbs. See? Blurb settings. And this is a text. This is a text and a button. And then they've made some events, which I think are just blurbs. Yes. Awesome. So the good thing about choosing pre-made layout to start with is that you also get to learn more about when to use which module, because that in the beginning can be really overwhelming. And because they've already done so much of the work for you, you can just say, okay, but I don't need this, or okay, I want this different. Maybe you say, I want these images to be more rounded. So you're like, let's go to the image and round out the image a little bit more, maybe this much. And then it looks so much better to me. Maybe I want a border around of 2 pixels, just to even make it stand out even more. Look at how much difference this already makes. So you can just pick a layout and start playing with it, and it will be your own thing, but you're not starting from scratch. And I think if you are just starting out, that is a really, really good idea. If you just need a website and you can't pay a lot of money for a designer to really come up with a design specifically for you, this is a really good place to start. And then once you've done this, you can just copy the module styles and paste it on all of them, and you'll be done. So I'm just scrolling through to show you that there's different parts to this. This is actually a really cool module too. Look, this is an email opt-in module. So what it does is people can sign up for your newsletter through this email opt-in module. So you don't need any other tool if you don't want to. You can, but you don't need to use another tool. You can just use this one. Okay. So first off, before we go and build our own page, I want to do something else, and that's here in the theme customizer. So we're going to save and exit this page, because we don't want to lose everything that we've done, of course. And we're going to the theme customizer. And the theme customizer is so important, and you really need to just go through that gently and look at all the options. First of all, there's the general settings, and this is really important. So your site identity is your title and your tagline. Now this, when you just set up your website, this will stay. So please go in and change your tagline, because you don't want your website to say just another WordPress website. That's kind of awful. So pick something for your site that talks about who you are in a way that also makes sense for SEO purposes. So you want people to be able to find who you are and what you do. And then you can add a tagline that has something else to say about that. And then there's the site icon. So if we see right now, there's this world ball and world map, really small image. And here we have a W. So that's your site icon. What you can do is make a square image and you can select that as a site icon. You can also just pick any other image. However, I will show you. It will make it a square. So if I would do that, I would just have the ta or the G. So a lot of times it's good to make a square image that you can use up top as your site icon. But we'll just use this for now. Look, now it's changed. Then there's layout settings. So sometimes people don't want the big bars. They want something more boxed in, and you can do that. And then everything on the side will be the background color that you decide on. You can, I wouldn't do anything with these two. You can, but with all the options within a page, I would not recommend it. You can change your site accent color. So we could use the green since that's our color for now. And then everything in general that needs an accent color will be that green. You can pick your typography and you can decide like, I want a different font, and you can just choose one from here. I actually recommend that. And that's the one thing I don't really love about the pre-made layouts. They will change a type or a font within a text. So they look at these, that these are two very different fonts. It's done within the page. However, if instead you say, okay, so headers will be able and bodies will be Clonica in general, then a lot of that will already change. And then you, like, there might be two where you're like, that's not working there. You can change it over there specifically. You did see that once I chose the body font, my home changed. But this all stayed the same because this is all done by hand. So I actually recommend choosing your header font and your body font in general, and then going in to your home page or whatever page and changing it where it's necessary to be different, so that you're not doing it in all the pages. Because then if you ever want to change your body font, you can just go in and click this and it will change this font as well, and these. And so that's so much easier than needing to go into the page and changing it everywhere. So then there's the body link color, which is of course just the link color in general text, which we will set to green. You can change your text color for your header or your body. And we have a background color. So that makes mostly sense if you're doing the box layout or leaving parts of the page completely open. If you go to header and navigation, you have header format, and that's the menu bar. So you have default, which is this. You have centered, which has a logo and then the menu items. You have centered inline, where the logo is in between. You have slide in, where it's an actual side menu and you click it and then it slides in on the side. This is really handy if you don't want the menu to be too much in your face if they don't need it. However, it can also be really annoying. So take care of that. Make sure that it works for your side. And we have the full screen, which to me is even worse. So if I click this now, then my whole screen becomes green with the menu items. The good thing is that you have a big search bar then, but this can be overwhelming, especially if you choose something like the green. This is really coming at me now. So let's say we're going for a centered in logo. You can also choose to enable vertical navigation, which means the menu is coming here. And you can hide navigation until you scroll, meaning you don't see it until you scroll down and then it comes up. Then you can make specific changes to your primary menu bar. You can make it full width. You can hide the logo image. You can change the menu height. I will go back 1 second and stop hiding our navigation, because then you can see the changes more. Make the menu height. And then I can change the height of my logo if I want to. I can change the size of the text. I can change the size of the letter spacing, which is actually the spacing between the letters. I can say which font to use. So now it says default theme font. Remember that we set 2 fonts in the other part of the menu, and then this will choose the body font. You can say that it needs to be thick or italic or all in caps or underlined. You can play with that. You can choose which color the active link is or which color the text is. Then there's a secondary menu bar. You're like, wait, what? There's no secondary menu bar. But there is. I can show you. If you go to header elements, we can fill in a phone number and an email address. And then if we go to secondary menu bar and we give it a background color. Now I've noticed a lot of times it doesn't show up, but actually it'll show up here on top later on. So let's just keep that and we can go on later. You can, if you have a fixed navigation like we have, it's staying here. We can say hide the logo image once it's going smaller. See, do you see it changes and it goes away once we're scrolling. You can change the height for when it's in the small position. You can change the text size. You can do all the things you can do for the other menu. And then we have the footer, where we have a layout. So a footer exists of this bar, which a lot of times isn't seen. So this column layout is about this part, but a lot of times people don't use this part because that's a bit old school. But sometimes, you know, you want that. You want something that shows up on all the pages where you say, okay, these are all the menu items again. This is our contact information. This is the sign up for our newsletter instead of something like this. And so you might say, okay, I need a 3-column layout. And you can do that here, and then you can pick widgets to go in there, and I'll show you that a little bit after. You can choose your background color, and so that will change this color, and then this widget has another color over it, which always trips people up. So I'll show you a little bit later, because we'll get to that in a second. So widgets, so this is what's going on this bar. You can choose the text size of it. Anything styling you can do here. And then there's footer items. You see that we have social icons here. I can remove those if I want to. And then we have a footer menu, which is if you want the menu in your footer, logically. And so if you have that here, you can customize that here. And then we have the bottom bar, which has, as you can see, a background color that is semi-transparent. And so if we make it fully transparent, then suddenly it's part of the orange bar and it's not showing up anymore. And if we would make it fully visible, it would be just completely black. So that's, if you were like, why is this another kind of orange, a bit dirtier, and it's the transparency that's over it, which isn't a bad thing per se, but you just have to know it and be okay with that. So now we can change the text color or the social icons colors to make them pop out more. And you can change the footer credits, because right now it says designed by Elegant Themes powered by WordPress. And you can just say designed by and then whoever. So you might even want to do a copyright icon in here, or say that it's all rights reserved. Just make sure that you have your creds. And if you don't need them, you can just click disable and they will be gone and no one can see them at all. Okay, so moving on. You can also work on your button style here and do a general button style. However, I don't use that anymore now that I have the option to do that in here. You can work on your blog and change the basics of how a blog looks. We can work on our mobile, but that's something else I'll do on the page. You can work on your color scheme. I don't do that anymore either. But then we get to something important again. We can create a menu. Okay, so menu name, don't think too much about it. Just call it menu. And then say primary menu. That's really important. And click next. And then we can add items to that menu. And we can say, okay, so we want home, and about me, and services, and contact. Check. Okay. You can also do something special, like add a blog post to it, or say that you want a blog category added, or a project category. You can do all that kind of stuff. You can also just keep it simple. And then where you're like, but these two should be around, you can just drag them and drop them in the right order. And then once you're ready, you just go back. And I don't know why suddenly it's here, but we'll manage with that. You can see your widgets from this theme customizer. So when you're in widgets, you have the footer area. So if we go down, we now have 3 sections for our footer. So if we go to footer area 1 and click add widget, we can add something here. Maybe we want to add a navigation menu and select our menu, and then it's showing up here. Maybe we want a second the most recent comments, who knows, maybe we want that on in our footer, and it will show up here. So now you're also seeing that I made our accent color the green and our link color the green, and so this is our accent color and it's now showing up. And we can do something else. Maybe you just want a space to do something yourself, so add a text. You can write something here. You can pick and choose, and you can even add multiple widgets underneath each other. Then we get to the homepage settings, which is really important because right now, if I would click homepage, this is my homepage. That's not the homepage that we chose. We made a page called homepage, but this is not the homepage. And that's because we want to say, instead of our homepage being our last post, we wanted to say a static page. And now we can say homepage. And if you also want a blog and you haven't made one yet, you can say add new page and then say blog. And we will add a page that's called blog that has all your blog posts. And so now if we click publish, it will add all the changes. You suddenly also see the green bar. Look, now it's much more like we talked about before. And if we click on home, we see our home page that we made for the animal shelter. Okay, so I also want to show you really quickly how to make a page yourself. So maybe you're like, okay, Natalie, I really like the layouts, but I need something really simple and I kind of already know what I want. Perfect. Like, let's get started. So let's do the About Me page. Whoops, let's get out of this part first because we're still in the theme customizer. Let's click on the X. We've published it, so it's all saved and done. You can click the X. Now we can go to About Me. And we can click Enable Visual Builder. So you don't even have to go to the back end and go to the page and then to the Visual Builder. You can just go to the page and then click Enable Visual Builder and you can start building. And now we're going to build from scratch. So as we went through the other page, I've shown you a lot about how a page is set up, but right now it's already has one section and we're going to say we want a row and we want a row. Let's start with one row and have a title. And so we just want a text. And we're just going to say about me. Now, this is my title of my page, so I don't want it to be a paragraph. I want it to be a heading. There's different headings. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 to 6. One is your title of your page. So only use a heading 1 once on your page. After that, use 2 and 3, maybe a 4. I don't go underneath that. So I would recommend just doing 2s and 3s where you need them. And also make sure that that makes sense. So don't randomly do 2s and 3s. Make sure that after 1 goes a 2. And then if you need a subheading on the net, then you use a 3. Anyway, so about me is our heading. So I'm using that. And it's automatically choosing the font that we chose as our heading font, our title font. But if we want to change that, we can. So if we go to design, go to heading text, and now it's saying default heading font. We can also say, okay, but I want Arial, and we will change. The reason I try to do default as much as I can is, like I said, if you have set it in the theme customizer, then if you decide to do something else, it will change everywhere instead of you doing it by hand everywhere. And believe me, that can get really annoying really fast. So you can decide on your font. You might go for extra bold. Of course, we need it to be bigger because it's like not really that big. So I want a much bigger title. I want a 50 pixel title. I want it to be bright red because we're doing all the colors on this homepage, on this website. And I want it to be, I don't want it to be on the white. I don't want the white. We have a black. Let's just go for the green just to keep with the theme. We have the black, the orange, and the green. So I can go to content and to the background and add a background color. And we can pick black. Oops. That was just the black from the text settings. But of course we don't want just black around the text. We want it in the whole module. In the whole section. So the black here is the module. Now it's just the module that has black, a black background. I could also do a black background here. And then we get some more. But it's still really small and there's so much white around it. And then I have the option to do it here. Look, now it's filling up the whole row. So if there's anything else that we want, let's see. So I went back in the text module and I'm thinking maybe we want the text to be centered. We can scroll down to the heading text. And then there's heading text alignment. And remember, if you ever get lost, like, oh, how do I get there? Just click this and it will show you that it's heading text. And we can align this to the center. We can add some letter spacing, which, oh yeah, that works. Maybe we want some shadow, which we don't see because it's white, but we could. And if we change the shadow color, oh, look how awful that looks. That's awesome. Okay, so I want to again recommend that you don't go overboard with this because like see what I just did. This doesn't make any sense. It's not cool at all. It doesn't work at all. I'm just showing you several options right now, but just make sure that what you're doing is good and people don't get like painful eyes. I think that's one of the biggest challenges if you're building your own website. Don't go overboard. One thing I could totally recommend doing, I might actually do it, is I'm going to remove the background from all three of them. What I would probably recommend doing is just building the website first with the elements. Okay, so I need a title, and then I want another row, and that will be my image and a text. So let's say that is my image and text, but I think this bar is a bit too big, so maybe this one. And then so this will be an image. I'm showing an image of a cake because I don't have anything else. Oh, I have dogs. I can be a dog. And then we add here a text which has content, and then maybe we want one module underneath with a button, and then we want another section, and then we want a full width image with a cat. Look at this cute cat. And so you can just like build the basics first, like how do I want the website to flow, and then start making design choices, because now I can say, oh, but I like this. However, I do want a divider on top, making it less rigid on top and maybe a bit more flowy. Oh, but I don't like the black because we were doing white. Oh, let's do white. So now, because I have the basics, it's a lot easier to decide like, oh, how do I want to add to it? Instead of, if you're just doing this, you might go overboard and then the complete look will be far, far, far too much. So this is one of my big recommendations if you're starting from scratch. Make sure that you're doing it bit by bit and just building out the basics first. So, okay, I need a title. And then, okay, so I want my, after that, I want my image and the text. And then maybe I want a button, and maybe then I need some more text actually. So we're adding another. And like if you're searching here in the modules, you can go to text really easily. And then after that, I want to really, this is far too big, an image. Okay, so it's far too big. So how do I change that? So I start dragging. It's because I have a full width photo, which doesn't really work because it's a really, really big photo. So, okay, so is there anything we can do about it? Well, the width is set, but we could also make a max width. So, okay, maybe we want to change the width. I love the fact that it's now doing something that I wasn't expecting, so that could happen, and then you just go, that wasn't what I wanted to do, and you just exit because then you haven't changed anything. So when we're like, okay, I like the idea of an image here, but it's far too big. Okay, so we make a new section, remove this section, make a new one, make a regular one, and we just add a normal image with the cat. And say, oh yeah, that looks better. Or maybe even say, oh, but now I know what I want next to that. And I want to change the module from just one image to an image and some text about this cute cat. So see that if you start with that and then we start saying, oh, so maybe now we want this to be a different color because we want it to stand out, and we decide that it needs green. It's still It's still very bright green, but that's just because this green is so very bright. Let's just turn it down a bit. But it could be like if we don't pick the green and we pick something a bit more muted, it might really work. And then if you add some dividers to say, okay, we want something more flowy, and we want it on top, and we want something flowy on the bottom. Then we want another module with something, I don't know what. See how much that, like even with the green, it starts to work because it has a flow to it now. Okay, so this is my first and a really long video about Divi, which doesn't mean that it's going to be the only video I'm ever going to make about Divi. I would really love to know what you need to make your own website. If you want to build your own website and you've watched this video, awesome. I'm glad that you did. Let me know in the comments what you want to know, what you need to know to build your own website. And let me know if you've got Divi and what is awesome about it and what's challenging about it to you. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, I have a link to the Divi builder in the description. It's an affiliate link, meaning you don't pay any extra, but I get a bit of the money that you pay to Elegant Themes for telling you about how awesome Divi is and how much you can do with it. We can drag things, we can change the sizes of things, we can just add this to make it bigger. There's so much you can do, and I love that it's a drag and drop builder and you can just go anywhere. Just make sure you don't go overboard. Okay, so have fun building your own website. Let me know any questions that you have, and I will see you soon. Bye.